I try to do the very best I can for you. That is Will Downing, man. You may not have been able to hear it. I am a sorry singer, but I love music. I love music therapy. I love my brain. I love your brain. And we're back again. I am talking to Will Downing next. I am interviewing Mr. Downing. He is the sensational voice of soul, the chocolate debonair, and he is going to get personal with me on my couch as we talk about suicide. Please, please join us for this discussion, man. So many of our children and our teens have been dying by suicide. The rate has been rising in our communities. I and Udonis Haslam put on this event with our whole sponsor, Miami-Dade College North, because we want to do something about this epidemic. This has become a problem in America, and it has worsened since the pandemic. Coronavirus 19, we know it's still here, and so are these suicides, man. Let's do something about it. The way we worked for COVID-19, let's work on these suicides. We have to get rid of these suicides. We need a rate of 0, of nothing. Come on inside, guys. Brain love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Will Downing has a career that spans over 37 years and 27 albums, and is one of the most versatile, loved voices of our time. Known as the Prince of Sophisticated Soul, his repertoire consists of signature interpretations of R&B classics like I Go Crazy, Wishing on a Star, and I Try, with original hits A Million Ways, Sorry I, and the show-stopping duet with Rachelle Farrell. Nothing has ever felt like this. Is that what you were trying to sing, Dr. Delvena?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, something like that, okay. His distinctive baritone voice has resonated with the hearts of women worldwide in the music marketplace as well. You heard some of his songs for the last few minutes. He wrote a song 2 years ago, though, that was very special to him, Till We Meet Again, about his daughter, Aron Siobhan Downing, after she died by suicide. She died by suicide January 11th, 2023. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome to the summit, Mr. Will Downing. Dr. Delvena, take it away.
On January the 11th, 2023, I received a phone call from my ex-wife, who lived out on the West Coast. I live on the East, asking me if I had talked to our daughter, Aron Siobhan. I told her I hadn't talked to her in about 3 or 4 days. My daughter was known to go off the radar every once in a while, and you wouldn't hear from her. But it was cool. We were used to it. But this time it was a little different. When I was on the phone with her, I kept hearing commotion in the background. It's a lot of people. I said, well, who's there? He said, well, I'm at her house right now. I said, I'm with her friend, and I'm also with the police. I said, well, why? He said, you know, she normally calls her friend every day, and she had not spoken to him in quite a few days, and they were concerned, so they were doing a wellness check. They tried to get into the front door of her house, couldn't get in, went to the back door, busted down the door, and then they found my daughter, unconscious, not moving, checked her, dead. It's the phone call you never want to receive, saying that your child has passed on. You should never bury your child should bury you, so it's one of those type of things that you think about. But my child had suffered from, she was bipolar, depression, some bits of schizophrenia, tried everything that we could to help her in every way, but I guess the world became too much for her. So for those of you who are suffering from anything like that, please don't hesitate to get professional help, all right? I wrote a song to commemorate her life in celebration. So the name of the song is Till We Meet Again. And if this song relates to you in some sort of way, there'll be a message at the very end that you could call and maybe get the help that you need, or for someone that you know. God bless you. Once again, the name of the song is Till We Meet Again. It's me, Will Downing. Enjoy.
Oh, hey, Will.
What's going on?
Hi.
How you doing, dog? I heard that amazing singing that you were doing.
Oh, you lie. You
Yeah,
lie.
no, I wasn't lying. I listened.
Oh, yeah, you said you heard that. Amazing.
I heard you. Oh, you have a gift. It's not for singing, though.
Whatever. All right, I think I'm going to face you on this side. That
Okay.
works. So thank you so much for being here. I know that you just got off tour.
Well, actually, leaving again today to go back on tour. Don't stop.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we appreciate you because I know for myself, I love music, music therapy. When I think about you, it takes me back to high school. You know, I've been listening to your music since I was a teenager. Why I was listening to things like Nothing Has Ever Felt, I don't know. But I'm sure a lot of us remember that song. Do you guys remember that song with Rochelle Farrell? Okay. So, well, today we're not talking about music. We're talking about something else that's very near and dear to you, your daughter, Aron Siobhan. I just want to say thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. I know this is very personal, and we appreciate what you're doing for the community. This is not the first time that you talked about this situation.
Correct.
Can you tell us about your daughter? What was she like? What was her personality like?
Aaron. Well, I call her Siobhan. You say Aaron Siobhan. I call her Siobhan. That was my name for her. She was energetic, loved the arts. Like most kids, wasn't really 100% sure of what she wanted to do with her life, so kind of bopped around doing a little bit of everything. But gifted in just about everything that she would do, but just couldn't center in on one thing, and that's okay. I was the same way as a child as well. Hell, I'm still that same way now. Uh, but yes, but energetic kid, great kid. Our bond was definitely the arts. She wasn't in a singer per se or rapper, but she loved, physically drawing and painting, and she was very, very good at it as well. So great kid, great kid.
So we heard in the video how you learned about your child's death. So we'll skip that question. You explained it in the video. In the time leading up to her transition, were there any signs or behaviors that, in hindsight, seemed to suggest that she may have been struggling?
Well, yeah, yeah, without a doubt. She had been struggling for many, many years. In the early days, when I would see signs of things that were slightly off center, I didn't know what the hell it was, to be brutally honest with you. One minute she would be bubbly and excited and happy, and the next minute she would be depressed, and the next minute after that she would be angry, and then she'd go right back to being happy again. And we had no clue what she was going through. All we knew was what we were experiencing as a family, and it was disheartening to see your child go through that. And to be honest with you, we didn't know to seek professional help. We just thought it was growing pains, to be brutally honest with you. And you talk to your family members, and especially I don't know about folks there, but my kind of take on is Black folks don't talk about mental illness. It's something that we feel that we can deal with internally, within the family structure. So I really didn't know what it was, to be honest with you. The things that she would do, like the first thing that I noticed, she was like doing this cutting thing on her hand or on her wrist. And I'd heard about it with other kids, and I just thought it was something that kids were going through. It's like, okay, let's sit down and talk about this. And then we talk about it. And then she was always writing in a journal about what was going on in her life and, would hide it from us. But then, one day I did as parents do. I went to a room and I, picked up the journal and read it. My house, my room, my rules. So, I read it, and some of the stuff was very disheartening and eye-opening, but still not to the point where I thought that it warranted professional help. So we never seeked it.
I'm glad that you mentioned the privacy situation because I know some parents struggle with that. They struggle with whether or not they should go into their child's room, if they should look through their things. And I tell parents you should set the precedent from the very beginning with your children that you have access to everything. So they don't think that they can hide items in their room and that you're not allowed in the room. That should not be the scenario. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. How have you been coping since your child's untimely transition?
Well, like most people would think when you go through something this traumatic, I have my good moments and I have my not so good moments. Just when you think that like you're okay and things are, that you can deal with and that you understand it, then something happens and it makes you realize that you don't understand anything. And even sometimes when I'm on stage, I'll sing something and it'll take me right back to, a moment with her. And, I have to do everything within my power not to break down and cry or have an emotional moment on stage. So it's I have more good days than bad. But I have my bad days and my bad moments. And when I say bad, it's bad, so my eyes leak unreal, AKA crying. It just is what it is. You miss your child, you miss a family member, and then you miss the interaction. And you also have to deal with how other people are affected by the fact that she's no longer here. My mother is 95, and I mean, this thing hurt her to the core. So, having to deal with that. So there's a lot of limbs connected to the tree when you deal with situations like this.
If it's not too private or personal, could you specify how you deal with it? So when those rivers come inside of your eyes and you find yourself crying uncontrollably, what do you do in the moment to deal with it?
Well, I try to remember the good times. I do a lot of praying when those things happen. I also, I mean, when it happened, I, I question God. I mean, that's, and I talk to God a lot about it. Like, yo, man, like, how'd you let this happen? Or like, why did this happen? And the hardest thing about the whole situation is you don't have any answers. The only person that has the answers is no longer here. So we all sort of, come up with our own theories and scenarios and where things went wrong and what did I do and what did I say, what didn't I say, so you have to deal with that on a daily. But I do find comfort in listening to music. So that gives me, comfort. I remember the good times. And that's pretty much all you can do, that's pretty much all you can do.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Are there any specific ways that you found to honor Siobhan?
Well, obviously with the video that you guys just saw and the song that I'd written, the album cover actually for that album, which was called Soul Rising, we put a beautiful drawing of her on the album cover as well. And, literally, her artwork is all in my house. So, when you walk around the house and you see artwork and you say, oh, who did this piece? That's my daughter, so she's always with me in that regard as well. And I have this chain with her name on it. And, so people always inquire as to, what it is or who these people are. These are my children and my grandchild. So I carry them around with me all the time.
Got it. What would you give other parents who may be going through a similar situation? What advice would you give to them?
Well, for me, I guess what I've learned from it is you need to communicate with your children. If you have more than one, you have to come to the realization that they're all different and they have to be raised and talked to and dealt with in different ways. I have a son who is 5 years older than Siobhan was, and a daughter 5 years younger than Siobhan was. And they're all different, and I think one of the mistakes that I made in raising children, I mean, because they don't come with a manual as to what to do, as far as parenting is concerned, was I treated Siobhan pretty much the way I treated Will Jr. And I think that was a big mistake. It was a huge mistake. And you have to kind of meet them where they are. Yes, you do have to parent, but you have to meet them where they are. And sometimes that old school sort of, I'm the parent, you're the child, this is what you're going to do, that kind of attitude, that gym teacher or that gym coach mentality sometimes doesn't work with every child. So you have to kind of open up your eyes and your ears. And when you see something that's slightly left of center, you kind of really need to deal with it. And you have to come to the realization that you may not necessarily have all of the answers. Sometimes children and people need professional help, including yourself. There's nothing wrong with going to these sessions and talking it out, so you can kind of get their perspective and they can kind of get yours as well. And maybe there's someplace in the middle that you guys can all meet and come to a compromise and deal with it.
Thank you for all of that. What do you wish more people understood about the impact of suicide on families?
Well, I think that's a very tough question. I mean, like I said, I deal with it every day. Um, and I don't have the answers. As I mentioned before, that's the hard part for me. That's the part that we all kind of have to deal with, is the fact that you don't have the answers. And at some point, you have to forgive yourself. You have to come to the realization that you've done all that you could do, or that you did all that you could do. As I had mentioned, well, maybe I didn't mention it. When we noticed that she was going through what she was going through, she did get professional help. So that is one thing. So we went down every avenue that we could go down to try to help her. They gave her medications. She didn't like taking the medications. She'd take the medications, she'd feel lethargic and very lazy and tired. So she stopped taking the medication, and then she would self-medicate. So it was a hard one to deal with, because she was older and she was living on her own, and you can't watch them 24 hours a day. It's impossible. But we were in constant communication with her, and that's what I suggest to people dealing with situations like this, is that you have to stay in communication with them. You have to. And you have to learn to forgive yourself as well. You can't beat yourself up over it. If you have done everything that you could do, that's all that you can do. And you love on them, and you try to raise them so that at some point in their lives that they're self-sufficient. And that's what you have to do as a parent. That's what my parents did with me. And that's an age-old sort of tradition or thing that you do. Before you leave the planet, you want to know that your child is able to take care of themselves. And that's what we were trying to do, and that's what we still try to do with the children that we're here with, and my grandson as well. So that's all you can do.
I'm so happy you mentioned folks showing themselves grace, forgiveness, because oftentimes after someone transitions this way, we feel guilty. We feel like there's something we missed or we did not do. And pretty much in a lot of these cases, it's not anything that the person could have done to change the outcome. So grace and forgiveness is very essential. Has this tragedy changed how you feel when singing, writing, performing music? Because I know creatives, oftentimes it's the challenging situations that help to drive your creative abilities, and you draw from that. Has this changed how you feel when you sing or when you write a song?
Well, definitely. I mean, you realize that, like, life is a roller coaster, and every day ain't going to be perfect. And sometimes you need to write about it because it'll make you feel better. Whether you're doing it professionally or whether you do it just to kind of get it out of your head and out of your spirit, write it down. I try to write about things that I believe is relevant to the times and relevant to other people. So it certainly kind of elevates my artistic contribution to society. But also, the thing more than anything else, her passing made me realize that there's more to life than what I do, and there's more to me than what I do. And it's kind of made me made me have a little bit more balance in my life and be able to enjoy my life, because you really never know what's going to happen tomorrow. It was an eye-opening, something that we say every day. Everybody always says, you never know when it's going to be your last day. And then when you see it happen, in real time, and you have to, you have to bear witness, as they say. It makes you realize that, like, maybe you're not living your life the best that you can, or maybe there's not enough balance. Music is what I do. It's not all that I am. So it's kind of made me have a lot more balance with my life. It's made me be a lot more interactive with my family, and to kind of push the music aside every once in a while, do stuff that's human with them as well, and cherish the times that you have here, and cherish the time that you have in life, period. So that's been probably the most eye-opening and awakening thing that has come out of this tragic experience.
Thank you for sharing all of that. I appreciate it. You guys like this interview? He shared a lot of information.
And I'll be more than happy to answer questions if people have questions. I can't, obviously I can't hit them within a short period of time, but I mean, it's on you depending on what your time is like.
Okay. I think we have time for one question. Do we? One question? Okay, so there's a mic here in the middle of the room. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am. If you could go to the mic, because Mr. Downing won't hear you if you don't use the mic. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Did you receive any counseling yourself, or did you and your family go to counseling before or after the event with your daughter? Was that part of your healing or your recovery?
Well, I'm gonna answer you like most Black folks that I know. No. I talked.
You said God was your healer, the praying.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, probably should I, but it's just something, and I'm not saying that it's right. I probably should, and we probably should as a family. It's funny. My youngest has said that she had wanted to seek counseling as well, but no. To be brutally honest with you, I talked to a few doctors and Dr. Delvena as well, via the phone or via Zoom, and some doctors that I know, close to where I am, and we spoke. But have I gone on a consistent basis? I cannot say that honestly. No, I have not.
Yeah, that's the problem when you're friends with doctors and therapists. You kind of, you get a few services on the side. So holding your friends down.
that jive call, they're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I was thinking about you. Listen, what happens if,
Or backstage, yeah. All right, you have a show coming up. Jawan mentioned it. It's November 10th. And you were gracious enough to donate 2 tickets. So during the giveaways later, you guys will hear more about this. We're giving away tickets to see Will Downing. If you've never seen him live, you are missing out. His voice is just sultry, beautiful. There's no adjective to describe the way this man sounds. Can you hit a note for us before we get out of here?
I would like for you to sing for all of us today.
Say that again.
I said I think you've done enough singing for all of us today.
Okay, well, if you could sing the words "Brain Love," I would like that.
Brain love.
Yeah.
Brain love. Brain love.
Ooh, hey. All right. Thank you, Will. You guys, please give all your energy to Will Downing. Yes. Thank you for pulling up, Will. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
For more brain love on the couch with board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Delvena, make sure you follow on Instagram at Dr. Delvena and at DRT Brain Love. Also, make sure you tune into the Brain Love podcast, airing each and every Sunday at 8 p.m. with a new episode on all podcasts.